Hello people, Rev.Hawksblood here, calling from the big island of Hawaii. I want to take you on a journey of truth. Sit back, listen. Please don't get objective right away. Keep it to yourself for a while. You can text me, email me, Skype me after the show. If you have a serious important question, you can put it into the chat room. But I want to try to bring you up to par with the ultimate truth, whether you want to hear it or not, whether you believe me or not. But I will tell you this: soul can always hear the truth. It's the mind that can't. The mind likes a program. Whatever the program is, it's just like a computer. It takes the program it about a religion, program it about a way of life, program it about how you're supposed to love somebody. They're all programs that are fed into a computer that it retains and holds for a lifetime. Consciousness is not that, people. Consciousness is not a computer. Consciousness will never be that. And consciousness isn't a group consciousness, like every scientist and every New Age person wants you to believe. We each have our own awareness. That is who and what we are. Alright. That awareness is our soul. What we are and what we attained over the lifetimes we lived. So I'm going to go over mine a little before I go into what today is. Happy Easter, everybody. Many people don't believe in it. Many people don't care. Many people turned it into something different. We'll get into that, but I want to get you up to that point first. Alright, please, don't try to debate me yet. This is the truth, so help me God. Alright, these are truth from my different experiences in this lifetime and all my other lifetimes. I know it's a bad hour, but it's recorded. It'll be able to play all day, next day, or whatever, as long as people want to hear it. You can try to listen to it. But sadly, with what's going on today, people are so amused or entertained or brought into a level of being pressured into believing and listening to something. And obviously, it's usually anything but good. I'm going to go back as far as I can. Alright, and that's as far as being in this lifetime. I mean, in this reality, in this world, the first time. For me, it started in Atlantis. Now, I'm not saying that's my first lifetime in the lower realm, because it isn't, and it wasn't. I had one that I was aware of before it. But the most important, critical thing is what happened. Why, how did we all get here? And that's the number one question that most people try to ask, or want to believe, or be programmed to believe and accept what it was and how. I don't want to go into aliens in great detail. I'm going to be bringing in as little as I can, but aliens wanted mankind to believe certain things. And they did. And many aliens were followed as a god. And aliens are not deities. Deities are not aliens. people want to understand that. They're probably not going to get to it in any time soon, in this lifetime or the next. Mankind's moving backwards, they're not moving forwards. You might leave right away, but that's your choice. People do not like the truth. People don't want to know which to go, because it's nowhere good. We're not creating a golden path to follow. We're creating a path of glass. All right? We're not walking a good road, and we're not walking forward. So, I'm going to bring it back to when it was. Atlantis was created. And now, this is going back over 40,000 years ago. There were different alien races here already. Coming, going, killing each other, leaving. So I'm not going to talk about them. But that is not the human race. Because they were here, it doesn't make them human either. Cavemen weren't humans either. We can go into all that, but I don't want to. But in Atlantis, we were here as human beings. There were multiple races here. Not 4, there were 9. Now, living there, I call it the only time that planet Earth had a Garden of Eden on it. Alright? You could say it was the Golden Age. And it wasn't about gold at that point. So why did they call it the Golden Age? Because it became the Golden Age. And not because aliens needed gold and made us mine gold. All those stories are useless to your benefit, to your growth, to your spiritual truth, to your awareness. Just about everything you learn and read is not helping you. It won't help you. It'll help you get through this lifetime. But that's not saying much. Because you're reincarnating and you're going to do the same thing over and over and over. Until you're ready to take that step beyond the big, cool feelings and emotions that you think are important. Now, history of the human race is in the lower realm, the physical reality, physical realm. There's multiple dimensions here, people. When you go to another dimension here, you're not going into anything spiritual, which many people believe they are. Check out CERN, C-E-R-N. They believe they're going into a different reality, a different dimension, but they're screwing with our reality seriously in a very bad way. When you check the facts are they're releasing things into this world, which they shouldn't. The same thing that happened with the Philadelphia experiment. I'm not going to go into that either right now. I talk about it a lot because it's the most important UFO story that exists, which it became, but because it entails Tesla. But keeping to the day, keeping to the facts, keeping to the most important part of today. All right, in Atlantis, there were 9 races, multiple colored beings. We were 9 colors, people, not 4. 5 races left this realm, left the physical realm. Now, you might not understand this now, but one of each race became a goddess or a god. I say little god or little goddess for a word, meaning a deity. And they became people that worked in the different realms as protectors of that realm. There's many here. There's many angels here in this realm. And most of the angels are here because they were forced to stay down here. The Bible only talks about 9. In Revelations, it talks about hundreds. So when people say they work with Gabriel, like some religions, Michael, and I mean, there's 9 names. I can't even repeat them all, but they're all very similar. They all sound the same, except one. One sounds like an alien robot, but don't ask me why it was mentioned in the Bible. That I wouldn't explain right now. But I'm talking about demons, entities, and the different forms of alien races that are here, came here, was here, are gone, and the ones that are still harassing this planet. Right? I'm not going to go into good and bad. There is a good and bad. Is there a word called agenda? Yes, there is. Every entity, every that lives and eats has an agenda. Just to live, just to survive, to eat, and mankind creates much more to its agenda. Having children, having cars, having planes, having boats, having money, having spaceships, traveling the universe, traveling cities, traveling countries. All right. Now, I want to stop right there. I want to go backwards. The picture you see when you came onto this site is the most important relic on this planet that I know of. And I'm sorry I didn't go near it. I didn't know it existed for a very long time. Alright, it is the skull of Mary Magdalene. Now, they cast it over and drew image and created an image of what Mary Magdalene looked like. And what they created was exactly what I worked with when I was alive and Jesus was alive. Alright. And she lived old, but not as old as Moses and all the other stories of living super long time. I'll get into the story slowly, but she was important to today. She was the one that made today what it is, what happened today, who found it, who discovered it, who brought the story forward. And how did she do that? It was Mary Magdalene, not Mary the mother of Jesus, not anybody else. If you know anything about what really happened, in the Bible it says it. Mary the mother of Jesus never did anything. She was always in back of Mary. She followed her around, kind of like a puppy. She didn't have superpowers. She gave birth to a child. That's all she did. Mary Magdalene did many more things. She worked the miracles. She did everything that Jesus did. But she traveled the world. She got out of her country, made it to France. Thomas left with her. Thomas went to India. That's why they call him Jesus in India, but it was Thomas. You didn't have a credit card, ID card, or any kind of thing like that where they would prove who it is or what you are. You didn't walk around with a sign on your chest saying, I am this. And because he was teaching Jesus' teachings, he was considered Jesus. But he did have abilities. What do you think Jesus was teaching? What do you think Mary Magdalene had to finish teaching? When Jesus was teaching, he was working with different kinds of people. Alright, it's a long time ago. And I say that was when he was alive. It was 2,020 years ago, roughly. Years are pretty mixed up in history. They can't pinpoint time. Alright. So now what happens is Jesus is born as a child. I didn't know him when he was born. I knew him later, because I was there when Mary Magdalene was with him. Meaning I was much older. Now, Mary Magdalene was a goddess, not a slave or any of the words you originally heard about Mary, because man wrote things about her to destroy her. She was the people were not caring about women in those days, period, people. The word love, Jesus wasn't teaching love, but the word love did not exist before that. Women were still and always were slaves. Sure, some of them made it to queens and things like that, but even at that point, the kings would be out on a prowl all the time, and it was always about women, and they were the slaves of them. All right. I mean, even the story of Moses when he was fighting the Pharaoh and things like that, the queen was involved, and it was like even who baptized John the Baptist when he was killed, why and who, and it was always the women that were the persecutors being persecuted, and they were trying to get their revenge. So when you read anything in history, you're going to read very little about a spiritual woman, which Joan of Arc was. She was one of the most powerful women to live. And she was killed by the time she was, I don't know, maybe 21. So, men were always afraid of women. All right. Afraid that they could take more power than them, and they never let them have it. But I don't understand that dwell on that specific subject, because Mary Magdalene was the most powerful woman to ever walk this planet. I'm just telling you the truth. No other woman in history had the abilities that she did. Jesus taught her everything he could, which meant she actually went through a word that's abused to this day. It's abused by spiritualists. It's abused by religionists. It's abused by people that have a giant ego. And it's called ascension. All right. When people die, they ascend into heaven. It's not ascension into heaven. Ascension means something totally different. And I knew very few souls, all through my lifetimes, too, that actually went through it. But it's just like everything else. When you come out of it, what do you do? All right. When you have the truth, and you got a mind, when you're in a physical body, you got a straight out battle. The mind doesn't agree with what the soul knows, ever. I mean, there's bits and drips that drip through, but it's not listening to soul. People say, I listen to my soul. Really? Do you know why God put you here? Do you know what you're supposed to be doing while you're here? And do you know when you're supposed to leave? Those things people are twisting and changing because they want to stay here. They're afraid to leave, like Mr. Bajo, because he's trying to create a vaccine, a drug, medicine to make people live forever. And I guess he would start with himself. But to live forever would mean you're going against the foundation of what soul came here for. Soul came here to learn what it is and leave, not to stay here. So, what was Jesus teaching people? I mean, I created this shirt when I wrote my first book. It's probably backwards on the screen, but it's How to See God. All right, that's my site, howtoseegod.org. www. All right. When I wrote my first book, it was a long time ago. Things have changed. Not that the truth has changed. Truth never changes, people. It doesn't. Only your acceptance and awareness of accepting it changes. Well, I believe in God. But what do you believe God is? The more you become aware, the more you can become aware of what God really is. Without that, you have no awareness. Without experiencing its total useless, people. Praying to a tree, praying to a wall, praying to anything. A statue is just that. It'll get you around in this reality, but it won't help you get into the next. It won't help you in the next realm either. And that's why it's part of the Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments are laws to live by. All right, they're not dangerous. They're not harmful. They're not complete. Moses didn't have the ability to complete all the 10 of them. And when he left the mountain, he created 613 laws, which are not spiritual laws. When it comes to food, sex, and all those things, it's not even anything close to what Jesus was teaching. Right? And in the Bible, a Christian Bible, it says Jesus agreed with what Moses said, which was a total lie. All right. Now, there's lies in the Bible everywhere. And if you can't read it from a awareness state, you're never going to get the truth of what's being said. You're going to follow all the lies that were twisted and fed within it. Alright. I know women create all the things about the goddesses and spiritual beings and all that. But guess what? They weren't here for 40,000 years. The deities that came here, there was the most important deity I consider was Green Tara. I mean, there's the 21 faces of Green Tara in Buddhism. And in Hinduism. Hinduism was the first religion on the planet, people. Shiva, Durga, Kali, and all those people were involved with that. And they weren't aliens. And when you get somebody like Zecharia Sitchin taking the story, making it the Anunnaki created us and all that, they take history and throw it right out the window. They take the truth and destroy it. The UFO world have very little truth about Jesus, and even a particular race, Venus, you can call them the Venusians, whatever name you want to give them, but they have no truth about Jesus as well. And they're not spiritual beings. They think they are. Most people think they're spiritual. But the Venusians took over Venus. They weren't born there, and everything else, like we weren't born here either. So when the Venusians took over Venus, they had to destroy the race that was there. The race that was there was called the ant race. So even Moses, when he brought people to the promised land, they killed everybody there. We're a same race, no matter what plane you're on, what planet you're on, where you are in our universe, or anywhere on this planet. And it's because of particular races, alien races, that reprogram the human consciousness. That all happened after Atlantis was destroyed. Alright. When you talk about alien races and stuff, none of them, not one race, people, has ever helped the human race for 40,000 years. Oh, well, this race. And, well, go back to the ancient stories about giants. That was another race. They didn't help us. Mankind had to destroy them. Even that book was taken out of the Bible, even though they mentioned it. They mentioned a giant in the Bible, but they eliminated the whole story of Enoch. But what's going on at a certain time frame during when Moses was writing about it? But it doesn't matter. It wasn't us. It didn't help us. I'm trying to bring you the truth that can help you take a step forward spiritually. Not in the UFO world, not in a so-called spiritual realm and things like that. It's into your soul. Soul is not this reality. It dwells in this body that's stuck in this reality. I call it a car, and that's where the word karma came from. It's the vehicle that you drive around in that creates problems that you have to deal with and work out. But your body doesn't teach you about the inner worlds. The only way you can experience that is by stepping out of this physical body. When you do that, it will be the first time you understand yourself and truly what you are. So, now, we were programmed about 35,000 years ago. That program keeps mankind from moving forward. Who benefits by it? Now I'm going to use words that you're going to hate. You're going to say religion, spiritual, and lies, and all this other stuff. Satan is a real being. So are the deities. They all have their place. God allows them their place to do what they're doing, or they wouldn't be there. The same in humans are here on this planet, destroying it. This planet was created as the ash can of the universe to let people learn to get out of it. Or stay in it. You have the choice. You always had that choice. Every action, every reaction, everything you do is your decision. Based on the karma of the world that you're living in as well. This earth has its own karma. Everybody talks about the goddess and this, that. I studied medicine for 28 years, and I studied moon ceremony and all that. But there's something really lacking, and it's called truth. It's not beneficial. Ceremony, all the things, we do it. It makes the mind feel good. If you can try to separate the mind from soul, relax the mind, soul can be free. And the best time is when soul is able to get free, is when the mind's going to sleep. that most easiest way, if you're going to really learn and you never did it before, to get out of the body, is during the process of going to sleep. The state between sleep and awareness and awake. When you're right in that middle state, which is only a short period of time, soul is completely allowed to be itself. Because once it's asleep, the mind has it locked in its body. All right. When it leaves, mind doesn't become aware of it. But when it's at that state, mind lets go of it. It's thinking and then turning into non-thinking. And soul is able to travel. And that's the best time to become aware of that. And when you do, you learn how to leave the body. And that is the most important thing you can learn in this reality. I'm going to the truth. I'm not making up stories. And I know people have a problem. Somebody had the nerve to say to me, well, when you talk about something, you say the same thing over. Well, here's the thing. If I'm talking about a tree is a tree. It's not a submarine. It's not a baseball bat. It becomes a baseball bat. But what is it? A tree is a tree. A flower is a flower. A boat is a boat. A car is a car. A penny is a penny. A penny's not a dime, a nickel, a quarter, half a dollar. So if I'm talking about a penny, I'm not going to be talking about anything other than what a penny is. And a penny's not really much of anything. Neither is the physical body. Oh, it's what? What does it do? Now, one phrase that Jesus said, it's not what goes in the body, it's what comes out of it. Nothing good comes out of the body. Tell me what does. I'm not going to go into the discussing parts of the things that come out of the body, but nothing good comes out of the body. What do we put in it? Just about everything. Well, you couldn't be alive when Moses was alive because you weren't allowed to put a lot of things in your body. But, again, drinking, drugs, smoking, and all that kind of stuff doesn't help soul, not at all. It helps mind kind of become in a stagnant state, which stops soul from being itself as well. And I'll tell you how you can prove it to your own self. It's simple to learn how to read a person's aura. It's the aura that surrounds a person. It's what their soul radiates. Nobody can hide that. Wherever you go, wherever you meet, you can't hide it. I'm going to not make you see who I am. Well, people do that by not letting people look in person's eyes. Native people were afraid for that reason as well. But you ever try to look somebody in the eye and they're afraid to look you in the eye? I mean, when you do, you can look inside and see their soul. It's that easy. But it's a matter of trying to make things or create things when you do it. A person's aura is very easy to see. And basically, it's a color. It's a thickness and a width that surrounds the body. Obviously, not obviously, but the darker the color it is, the less aware that person is. All right, the colors also determine what kind of state that person's awareness is in. And I'll tell you, there's two most important colors, or three. And one's not really a color, but yellow, white, and blue. I mean, you've got red, orange, purple, brown. All those colors are the color of soul. I mean, the aura of soul when it's here. So if you see a person's aura, you know who and what they are. If they smoke, their aura is usually a brown. And depending on how much they smoke, you'll actually see holes in the aura. Same with drugs. So, we make things so hard how to determine if a person's real. I mean, the internet, they talk to a person by writing and typing. You can't see or understand a person that way. Because 60% roughly is probably lies. 20% is make-believe, real truths that they believe that aren't real. Maybe there's 10% of the truth coming out. I mean, you watch catfish. Watch what really goes on in that world. It's crazy what people are doing now. People were in love with a person for 3 years and never even saw them. People fall in love with an idea. The idea of God, the idea of Jesus, the idea of whatever. A deity, an angel, Shiva, Durga, an angel like Gabriel, Imagine giving all your power to saying you got it from an angel. Angels aren't those kind of beings. They're not here for that. When and if you ever decide to work with your angels, which you will have, you'll understand their purpose and what they do and what they can't do. They're not God, not even close. Deities are much closer to God than an angel is. You work with an angel to help get your next step, or for a warning and things like that, to protect you that way. If you listen, listening to that is really hard, because then you have to determine if you're listening to an angel or a deity. I mean a demon, sorry. And demons love to talk to people just as much as angels do. Satan's job is very simple and easy now. The person does drugs, drinks, and all those other things, and makes it so easy for its army, its little soldiers, to walk into your consciousness. And the alien races did to the human race in the beginning, when Atlantis was being destroyed. But when that was happening, humans were dying, great numbers. Alright? But the colored races, the blue race, the green race, the purple race, the crystal race, they all left. They became aware. And they realized they don't need to be here. But the ones that were not aware, black, red, yellow, white races, obviously didn't learn much. And they still didn't. Alright? I'll say this. The races of this reality, basically shades of brown from white to black. Right? 2 on colors to the shades in between. So to say we're really a color is a ridiculous statement as well. But the red race, the yellow race, what makes that different than the blue race, the green race, the purple race? But let's bypass that. Time is really not recorded in any direct, accurate way. I mean, they could say when roughly Jesus was born, when Moses was born, when Buddha was born, there's 4 Buddhas, and things like that. But, we can't even prove that somebody's over 125 years old. Alright, and there's only a few souls that did, which isn't any possibility that's normal for anybody. Because souls only allowed to stay here 125 years in 99.9 cases. It needs to be taken away by then. But from over 100 people, I'm telling you, it's not going to be better in any way. If you think you can live past 90, 100, these women that are 96, 98, look at their lives, look at them. There's a few people able to walk and talk and stuff. Some of them can't even do that. But guess what you see in your lifetime? Your children die. Your families, your friends die. And here you are doing nothing, living. To do what? To live. Why? Mankind doesn't know why it really lives. Or we're going to save the world. You're not going to save the world. To colonize the universe. Why? You can't make planet Earth a beautiful place. Why would you try to do it somewhere else? Especially a planet like the Mars. We're going to have a beautiful ocean, river, lakes, streams, mountains, trees, forests, farms. Really? There's some worlds out there that are very similar to Earth. A particular race wanted to bring us there, and our government said no. But then we have the UFO world, which is even playing games on anybody that even tries to think different, treating us more retarded, stupid, sorry for the words, just bad words, bad things to keep us locked here. Now, Jesus' time was short, very short. Most spiritual people do not stay here long. Why do you think Moses stayed here so long? Because he was the worst black magician to ever walk this planet. Worst means, a black magician means responsible for killing. A white magician means the opposite. I was a white witch. I was a witch for many years when I was young. Not many. 6. Alright. What did that mean? I learned about psychic abilities. I learned about spiritual laws. And I learned one important thing that nobody learns or will learn anytime soon. Psychic abilities cannot be used today. They were refined in Atlantis. You couldn't abuse them. You couldn't go to a casino and take all their money. You couldn't rob a bank, know the combination. You couldn't do any of those things. Because there wasn't none of those things to do it too. Everybody could read each other's minds and sense, or you didn't have to talk. So it wasn't like you could sneak in somebody's mind, make them do something. You couldn't sneak around and do things. It wasn't like that. So the psychic abilities only helped them create the perfect society. It's perfect people. That was called the Golden Age. The Garden of Eden, the story became twisted, thanks to aliens and everything else. I mean, if you read the Bible, if you read the story of Adam and Eve, it's all lies. But basically, it's an alien talking to people. When God says, our kind, O-U-R, kind, K-I-N-D, our kind, what's that mean? Not one? And it says, when he talked about the animals, our kind, what's your kind of animals? All those things, it was a race talking to people. But they didn't create us, and they didn't take the woman out of a man's chest and make a woman. The Pope says it's a lie as well, but he doesn't know what he's talking about. Sorry, I'd debate him in a second anywhere around on the planet in front of the whole world. The same as I would debate just about everybody on this planet in the so-called UFO world, spiritual world, and religious world, about God, about death, about reincarnation, about the most important words that we have to learn and deal and understand. Jesus came here to teach that. People, he didn't come here to take your sins. He wasn't a sin remover and all those words. He worked with people that were spiritual. When they were, he told them they were. He never even took credit for what he did. He told them they were healed by their own truth. And that's how you get healed. When you go to a healer, you're getting healed by your truth. If you are able to get rid of that karma that you need to pay off. Otherwise, it's a temporary thing. I'll tell you, what you get from a healer is a temporary aspect. You go to a healer, so you got cancer. Heal my cancer. They heal your cancer. Guess what? You're going to die, but what do you think you're going to die of? Liver problems, brain problems, heart problems, hit by a car. You're still going to die. But let's keep it within the body. So why don't you just heal your whole body? Your body so you don't get sick again. If I went to a healer and he could really do something, I said, well, heal my body so it doesn't die. Sure, a plane could fall out of the sky or something like that, but I'm saying anything that goes wrong in the body, heal it. Oh, if you can heal me, heal the rest of the planet as well. It's an ego game. When a person gets a person to say that they were healed, that goes to the other people, and then they start believing it, and it becomes a mass energy, when it's an accepted energy. The person that goes around the world just staring at people. I came to Hawaii a couple times already. I went to see him. I went to see what he was, and what he did, and how people reacted when they saw him. He was an incredible being in his own mind. He didn't talk to anybody ever in the physical. In his reality, when he was lecturing or standing there doing nothing. So, then you got all these other people saying they're channeling great angels or great deities or great beings, and telling us what? Love is the answer? Love is not the answer. Love was shown to the world by Jesus. It was shown to his disciples by him falling in love with Mary Magdalene, and how he respected her, not how he disrespected her. He taught her how to go through ascension. That's how she learned his abilities. That's how she was able to teach the disciples who he didn't finish teaching. That's in the Bible. That's in your Bible. If you're there, you would understand it. Peter was a pig-headed person, especially when it came to women. Most men were. I mean, the priests at that time condemned Jesus, but they condemned people, women. For what reason? Well, women spiritual. I mean, Jesus had his disciples, they were all married. And then after he was taken out and John became the first pope. But oh man, I'm bad with names. I'm pretty sure it was John. It could have been Peter, but I think it was John. No, maybe it was Peter. But when that happened, they were all married. Then all of a sudden, they weren't allowed to get married. You go from a positive thing to a negative thing. Why is that? In this world, I don't care what anybody believes, says, or does. The truth is, there's a balance in relationships, in family, and everything else. And it's called male and female energy. Each has a vibration. Each are different. If you live in one vibration, you learn one vibration. You live in another, you live that vibration, and you learn it. But you learn to split the two to balance out what you know so that it's not always one or the other. Look at the world. Look what's happening. There's another reason, too, for that happening. But I don't want to get into that. Most people are going to deny anything I say anyway. I'm not here to make you believe it or not. I'm just here to put it out there. You can listen. You can deny it. You can open your ears and your eyes or close them. But you're so programmed, you don't need to listen to my show. I'm getting, over the past week or two, I got 2 trolls, and one of them I think I know, and the other one I have no clue, but I told them, I said, look, you don't believe it, that's your choice. You think I'm wrong, that's your problem. You don't need to be here. If you don't like a way a person teaches, you don't listen to him, you don't go to him. I quit school because I couldn't listen to my teacher. He had a lisp, and it drove me crazy. And I told him I can't understand him. He goes, all right, come after school. And I went after school to be with him. I just couldn't hear a word he said. I quit school. All right. So, listening is hard, especially when you have nothing good to listen to. You can listen to these new age people. You can be the best you ever were. You can become the best. Best what? Best believer that you're the best person? You are what you are. You never change. Killers don't change. Rapists don't change. Child abusers don't change. All right? You don't become better. Why ask for forgiveness? You can pretend that you're forgiven. But even a person that's abused, that stays with them for the rest of their life. What we do is really critical to this lifetime. It's only 125 years. Every action you do, whether it's working with aliens or working with whatever you think you're working with that's going to change and make the world better, is a lie to yourself. And then you feed that lie to the world. I can say the names of people out there that are really hurting the planet, hurting people, and really going to destroy the benefits of this planet. And in the UFO world, the main person is the biggest storyteller of them all, giving and feeding the whole UFO world more lies. And the people in the UFO world that I'm finding are multi-rich and want to do horrible things they feel is the most beneficial. The human race is what it is, human. And we're the most aware race compared to all the other alien races, people. I don't care what you think, what you believe. Higher. You don't need the word higher. God is. That's it. You don't need any other words to go around God. Jesus was. All right. But when you talk about these words that fit around it, alien races are going to tell you what? They're higher angels, higher beings, or higher what? They weren't, and they aren't. You don't make weapons. You don't need to travel the universe. Because when you let go of the body, you're going to go beyond this universe, multiple verses, and go into the higher realms, which go 10 trillion times greater. Your attention is where it keeps you. And your attention is based on your programs. And Jesus did not come here to teach you that. He came to bring you truth. People don't want it. People want control. Always did. After Atlantis was destroyed, rulership kingship, power, and money became the only thing important. Life and death didn't matter. Sacrifice was important. And all those things changed and started destroying us. So for 40,000 years, we didn't do anything beneficial to the human race, except destroy it. Look at every war we had, and we still have them every day. Where? How many people get killed, shot? Children get shot, tortured. Where are we going? What are we doing? Who are you listening to? Not me. The Pope, the Dalai Lama, Eckhart Tolle, Deepak Chopra. This is considered the most four spiritual people on the planet? Really? And they can't talk about God, they can't talk about death, and they can't talk about reincarnation. Being here now in a moment, so what? If you don't know God, what good is it? You're in a moment without God. So, Buddha said you got to think about death every minute. And just that minute closer to death. So what? If you want to believe, like some people believe, in the New Age world, in the universe, you're all one. You're all connected. To what? Each other? Do you think like I do? Do you know anything I do? Do I want to know anything? People, I don't care if you say, well, this guy's really egotistical. No, I'm not egotistical. I'm sorry. I love children. I love to see relationships work. That's all I care about. I don't care about the government, the aliens, anything else. They're not helping that situation. Mankind's being pulled into the artificial intelligent world where they need a dummy to have sex with instead of a real person, or a sex toy and everything else along the way, because we're moving away from spiritual truth to physical truth, meaning the physical body, who and what we are. As our perception goes, we are this human body. We're not. When you have a death experience, you at least become aware that you're not this body. That's one other step. Getting out of the body or having a death experience, both will help you understand the first step in what soul is. Jesus was teaching that. He gave techniques to do it. Anybody after Jesus was killed that did his techniques were killed automatically put on a cross. They don't talk about that in the Bible because they don't know much about it. Oh, his disciples were killed. Why? What did they do? How did they know? All right, people, are you ready for the truth? Do you want it? Do you want to understand why Jesus came and left? Well, before the show ends, I have to tell you why he left. But mankind is pretty pathetic. All right. I mean, the creatures and everything else that came here. So now I'm going to get back to the picture of the skull on the beginning of the show. That picture is the skull of Mary Magdalene. She's in the temple in France. They consider that the most sacred artifact on this planet. They said if they took it out of there, it could probably heal people, bring people back from the dead and everything else. But that's not what it's supposed to be used for anyway, the same as the Ark of the Covenant. Why it's not being used? Why was it created? It wasn't created to be used. Why was it created? All those little things, Christians have no clue. They're never given the truth. People aren't given the truth. 9/11 happened and you don't know what really happened. Nobody does. Oh, sure, there's a few people that do. But they're not going to tell the world what really happened. When the truth's there, including what they're doing with aliens and all that other stuff, it's there. They come out and tell you that it's only about a limited amount of people, that it's about the rich people only. Our Constitution is based on rich people. Why don't people understand that? The Constitution wasn't created for poor people. And they all stick up for the right to bear arms. The right to bear arms to kill other people. They wanted everybody to kill Native people. That's why everybody was allowed to carry a gun. And shoot them. And kill them. And then they were paid. Well, it was the white man that was paid for the Native scalp, not the Native people taking the white man's scalp. That's why the man twisted to make it sound like the Native people were the bad people. They weren't. broke in the house and beat everybody up. Who's the bad person? The people in the house? Well, they shouldn't be in the house. Really? This is still their land. And they don't even claim it because they can't. It's not theirs. It's land. We don't own anything here. We believe we own everything. We own a lot of synthetic make-believe things, meaning they're not really important to soul. Can't take them with you. Can't take one penny with you when you leave. So, I'm sorry that I didn't find out about that skull years ago. I would have went to France. I'm at a serious point in my life where I don't even think I want to ever get on a plane right now, anytime soon. But for me, I would have just liked to be near it. I mean, she was my closest friend in that lifetime. I didn't see her. I mean, I knew she left, and she had a daughter when she left, but I didn't get to follow her life. I heard stories. You got residue stories. I was a goddess in the temple. I mean, you get the stories of what they do and stuff. It's always passed down and went into a country. But I never got to meet her again. After that, I did see Jesus' daughter, but for a short period of time. So people, you want to believe things. You believe what you want. You can believe stories that you create. The mind likes to create stories based on ideas it has. It can't come out with the truth. When the truth comes out, it's because soul squeezed it through. There's a word called the dream interpreter. It's the one that allows the dreams to come through, and it stops the mind from seeing what's being said. All right? That's how you get to see your past lives, when you learn how to block it and work through that. There's a lot of things. Jesus taught a lot. He wasn't sitting there teaching, you're protected, I'm taking your sins. Ask for forgiveness and I'll forgive you. Really? Somebody goes out and kills somebody. Jesus, forgive me. Okay. Come back next year. Oh, I killed another person. Oh, I'll forgive you again. And Jesus told his people when he was working with them, go out and sin no more. Don't come back. You know you're part of God. Know what you're supposed to do. And be that. Why the angels fell. A lot of the angels fell from the higher realms to come down to the lower realms because they were fighting. Mankind doesn't understand the spiritual laws. Without them understanding them, we can't move forward. World peace, world love. Really? We're all going to love each other? For what reason? We're all going to love the same God. Never. Right? Not 8 billion people can accept God as God, Jehovah is Jehovah, Satnam is Satnam, Lucifer is Lucifer. Never happened. Most of them don't believe in any of it. Oh, it's the universe, and the universe does what? Talks to us, builds us, creates us? We're created out of it. We're all created out of the same thing because this is a realm that everything's created from that realm. We're not going to be created out of the spiritual realm because it wouldn't vibrate here. It couldn't fit here. People, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be here. I mean, I'm not worried, but I wish I could have done a lot more. If I had a little money, I'd be doing a lot more than I'm doing right now. I wanted to open a church, but then I said, well, how many people would come to it? You get a few people that agree, and you get more people agree. Like, I won't say his name. He has, thousands of people that come every week, and he makes millions of dollars and all that. But why? It's called the power of suggestion. You suggest ideas to their consciousness, and they give. Give to your church. Give to your president. Give to your congressman. It's about money. I want a person that's going to do something, not because he got money, because he's going to tell the world what he's going to do first, and then do it. I don't see why people don't understand that. There should be a law. All people running for government, for president, should not be allowed to spend more than a certain amount of money. They all should be equal. They will be given an equal amount of time. Not because they have more money. More money just means they're more controlling. And then never mind being older. Older doesn't really make you that much smarter. I watch the Dalai Lama now. He's carried around by people. He can't barely move, barely talk. You're not aware. Your awareness starts dying. your brain starts slowing down. Your brain gets a wrinkle for every thought it gets in its life. So you know how many wrinkles you must have in his brain? Trying to go through all that to find the right wrinkle to get the right answer? And I look at it as a simple way rather than the way it really functions, but basically it does. So, old people, I'm old, but I'm not senile yet. My brother's going senile, and it's scary. He was a scientist. He did incredible things and he did really bad things. But, when you work in a field and you're told that this is right, you do it. When you join the army, you're told to go to another country and kill people. You think it's right. I came back. I fought for the United States in another country, killing children. That makes you a superhero? Killing doesn't make anybody a hero, ever. In man's mind, it does. In wrestling and boxing, I knocked him out. I'm a hero. Really? You should beat somebody up. Our society has fallen. And it's like, I have fallen and they can't get up. They can't get up. And they're not going to. Aliens are going to come here. They're coming here. They're not going to help you stand up. They're not going to give you any information that's going to help you understand death. They gave the Egyptians, the Mayans, the Aztecs, all false information. What the Egyptians did to bodies when they were immortalizing them and things, their skulls open and taking the brain out, breaking their jaws. What kind of ridiculous idea is that? Come back to a body that's all busted up and ancient and dried out and dead and gone. The theories that they fed, that the alien gods fed the people. I mean, read the hieroglyphics in the pyramids and stuff. It's ridiculous. And then they want to make you believe, because aliens can go in time, which we can do now. So they rearranged many parts of the time to make us accept certain things. Just paint the mural on a wall. Well, that's what it said then. The Hopi people lived underground. And they had hieroglyphics that were there. It showed World War I and II. And it showed where we can go with the third one. And the Hopi prophecy, all right, I don't care who changes it or tries to change it. There was 3 people carrying the Hopi prophecy in the past 25 years. But it said, either we unite as a race, the red and white race, or the world will be destroyed. Now Tibet, they have the same prophecy, but it's for Tibetan people. But guess what? Tibet was destroyed. It was taken over by China. Many of the lamas were killed. Many of the temples were destroyed. Now, if you see anything spiritual anywhere along the way from whatever time frame you want to start, let me know. Show me something that was really spiritual. Even when they killed Jesus, whatever that sword was that they pierced him with, armies and countries were fighting over that. The thing is, nobody knows where the Ark of the Covenant really is, which one. You got people in the UFO world saying they have. The stories just get more crazy. And what I believe, the crazier the story is, the more people accept it. In the UFO world, there's very little important truth coming out. 60 to 80% of it is attacking the U.S. government. Doesn't matter what the government's doing. If we were told about all their projects, all the things they were doing, would it help us? Well, we got high technology. Yeah, do we need it? We don't need technology to become spiritual. We don't need anything to become spiritual. It's all inside you. And even that's being taken away from you because you believe that, well, I have to this and I have to have that and I have to take this and I have to do that. No. Everything you're being taught is against spiritual truth. The number one thing that goes against the spiritual laws is what most people do. It's called the law of non-interference. Everybody thinks they have the right to interfere in somebody else's life. Musk thinks he has the right. Gates thinks he has the right. Bosco, which I call him, thinks he has the right. Nobody has the right to change somebody else's life unless they ask for it. Do you think we want artificial intelligence? They do. Rich people don't want poor people around their house, people coming in their house. They want rich people that don't need them, that can survive, and they don't have to pay for their medical, they don't have to pay for this, they don't want to pay for anybody else. They're so egotistical. I mean, like now, look at how many children are starving and dying around the world. And these rich people are spending money to go into space, to play games, to make a cure so that they live forever. You know, it's pathetic, mankind. I had to come into this world when I did. I had to take the body that I did. I don't think I would have taken a man's body, even though a woman's body is the most abused on this planet. You know, we're living in a horrible time. It's not going to get any better anytime soon, people. UN Agenda 21-30 is in effect. It goes beyond only, we're going to pray and make the world better. Really? Stop praying. Let me know when anything changes. Well, I'm praying for the war. The Pope says his stories. They all tell stories. Listen to Deepak Chopra. Listen to Eckhart Tolle. And so, what? I'm living in the moment and I'm happy? How can you be happy when you're living in hell? You're pretty stupid and dumb and ignorant if you believe that. Because it gets better every step of the way as you leave this body. The inner worlds, the higher worlds, however you want to relate to it, are thousands of times better each time you take a step into a different realm. Time doesn't exist in those realms compared to what it does now. And you can be there for thousands of years, so it's not like here for 125 years. So, getting stuck in the astral plane, you could be stuck there for hundreds of thousands of years. But without awareness, you're not going to know any different. You hear, and most people don't know the difference. Buddha talks about reincarnation over and over. He doesn't talk about leaving. I mean, the Dalai Lama, not Buddha, sorry. Leaving this world. No, let's stay here. Let's make it better for somebody else. How? Give them more toys to play with? And that's what we do. That's what man does, is make a better, faster, more powerful toy. That's it. From a pea shooter to a machine gun. I mean, we don't make better things. I mean, better making them spiritual. They don't connect you to God. They don't help you understand angels. Meditation is many levels of that. And very few people can teach anything further than block out everything. Go into nothingness. Why? You want to go into knowingness so you can go further. The bliss state is nothingness, but you stay there and do nothing. People, you know, I could talk as long as I want because I could never have things someone had to say. But, you know, when people don't listen, it's hard to go any further than where you're at. Should I talk about the higher realms of God? Why? You might not ever get to stay in the astral plane. Why would I want to talk about the world beyond that even? Well, what God's in? Well, do you care? If you're not going to face it, it doesn't matter. Even being Jehovah is the most important God, that's where you could be limited to. He's the God of this realm. And so is that now. But again, you're not going to go further than that. There's only one way you can pass a God. And you can. Not the God, but the gods of the different realms that you go through. And that's by raising your vibration to be higher than theirs. That's simple. But it's not easy. And thinking about reality. You can be attached to a lot of things here. But there has to be the other part of you knowing that there's something greater and better. Without that, you're not going to see it or understand it or ever move into it. Alright, let me just see if there's anything else that I really want to give to you people today before I leave. No, I was going to go into each religion. Christians and their problems, Muslims and their problems, UFO believers and people that work with them, then people that don't believe in anything, and so-called spiritualists. Each one of them has a block, a major block. Christianity doesn't want the truth for what today is. Which I said I couldn't leave before I tell you what it was, because I didn't even mention it. Alright. Jesus came here for a reason. Not his body, his soul. His soul wasn't aware of being. It wasn't Mary that made him into anything. She gave him a car to drive around him, meaning his body. Alright. His father didn't give him anything either. He left. When he went through ascension, he was alone. Alright. He talked to his disciples about it. He talked to his disciples about Satan. But that wasn't written in the Bible because people around Jesus, his disciples, didn't write. Two of them could write a little. Not that they were going to write a book. They didn't write the Gospels. People wrote it about them. And like Paul, never saw Jesus. His was all from visions. And then if you know this about the Bible, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, which you need to know, only two of them were disciples. The other two were evangelists. Read what an evangelist is. One followed Peter and one followed Paul. So they were stealing teachings and mixing it with their own knowledge. If you read them all together, you'd understand that they're like two and two are copies of what one said. So one of them said the truth and one of them rewrote what he said. So people would say the same exact words on a certain experience. Do you care? Do you want to know that? No. Do you follow Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John? What they said, what they did, what was happening? Do you believe anything about Satan? Do you believe anything about what was going on? No. So does it matter? You think you're clean and honest because you asked for forgiveness? Buddha was right about karma. Alright? It's cause and effect. What you create, you gotta pay back. It's simple. Jesus worked with people that had no sin. A farmer usually doesn't create much karma. A fisherman doesn't usually create much karma. It's when you form clubs and gangs and wars and armies and everything else where you create a lot of karma. I mean, women were always abused, so that's the karma the average person suffered. Women suffer the karma because that's their karma, and the man that created it created more karma for themselves. So, when Jesus was teaching, he had a few people that followed him. They didn't understand what he was talking about. I did. Mary did. And she learned, and then she had to go to ascension. Or she would have never got the 32 psychic abilities that she had. That's why she survived. Jesus now, let's talk about that because that's what today is all about. Jesus was so powerful, which he was, so aware, so gifted. Why did he get killed? Do you understand what he was here to teach? He didn't come here to teach forgiveness. He didn't come here to teach love. You can't teach love, people. You can talk about it, you can think about it, but you can't teach it. You can't teach somebody to love somebody else. It's what soul does when it connects with another soul. Alright. Jesus came to teach about one thing. Only one thing. God. Soul came into this reality to learn one thing. What God is. Alright, and then how you're connected to that. Not to everybody else, not to the universe, to aliens and everything else. It's to God. And what God grants you when you do. In these higher realms, you get granted many imaginable things that you couldn't imagine in this reality. Because you're the sole creator. Imagine that. What would you do You sure wouldn't be deserving that right now, because you wouldn't know what to do. Until you learn the laws, the spiritual laws of God, it's not going to allow you to play with all the things. Angels had the power, and they abused it. Atlantis, we had the power, and it was taken away. So, man is responsible, not aliens. But, they reprogrammed us, but we don't have to ride in that wave. Hypnosis is a powerful thing. You can program a person to do almost anything. But the idea is to go beyond that and stop it and break it. I was a hypnotist for years. I know all about it. People don't have the ability to break it. So a program, and the magician I learned when I was 12 said it was the power of suggestion. So when I tell you you're a fool or you're a genius, your mind's incredible, and I tell you that every day, you start believing it. Period. The mind accepts it. Soul doesn't. Soul knows what it is. And it's not going to change because somebody else told you you're different. But you don't believe that. You don't understand that. You don't know that. Jesus was teaching his disciples the truth. Starting to teach them about abilities. And then he had to die. Now, what was his teaching? Let me just get one sip to read this out. He only came to teach one thing. Soul doesn't die. Not that you go to hell, not any of those things. Soul doesn't die. Now, like in the UFO world, in every world, whatever you're teaching scientists, prove it. Prove it how it works. So if Jesus came here, all right, say I have 100 of you sitting in a room in front of me. I tell you, you're all immortal. You never died, you never will. Oh no, we all died. You see your mother die, you see your father die. You see your body die. Did you ever see the aura? If you did, you could actually see it leave the body as well. But Jesus came to teach people how to leave their bodies, leave their body, and rise to the higher realm of God. Not to God's world, but there's multiple worlds that you start rising and going through. And the only phrase that really relates to that in the whole Bible is when Jesus said, in my Father's mansion there's many rooms. Why he used the word Father? Why do you think he used the word Father? Because they didn't understand a word called God. And mankind doesn't still today. I mean, you got one of the most famous scientists going 2 years ago, well, there has to be a higher power. And then just last week he said there's no such thing as God. So, the smarter you are, the dumber you become. But Jesus was teaching a very important thing. We're soul. We're immortal. Now, how could he prove that to these people? If I'm going to tell you I'm immortal, I don't die, and I run out of the country to another country, would I believe what you said? He told me he doesn't die. Does that make you believe it? The word death of the body and resurrection means reincarnating and showing somebody the truth. If he didn't come back, if Jesus did not come back, his disciples would have left the path within months. They were all leaving already. Oh, he's gone. Now we can do what we want to do. And they didn't realize anything was really important about it at that point. When he said Father, it was because they didn't understand God. I mean, they were still looking like their father. Well, my father's still here, and he's nice or he's bad. But it's not about what a God is. But they couldn't relate or understand any higher level of what a God could be. They were fishermen, farmers, people in poverty. And the saints and what, not the saints, whatever, all the people in the Vatican and the other places of power, didn't want to lose that power of them being in control of these people. So when he had to come back so that they could see him, so they would know that there is life after death, that's what he taught. It's not complicated. But he did give techniques, and he did teach them things, the awareness, the protection inside that, not inside the protection of this world, because the knights and everybody else killed everybody anyway. They weren't protected from that. They had to know that their soul was protected, and they should have learned that, and a lot of them didn't. And you don't kill the person that's teaching you. All right. When his disciples turned against him, many of them did. A lot of people that followed Jesus turned against Jesus, because it's like in a family relationship. When, say, a German, I don't give it a label, but two people come in with machine guns to stand in there, and they got your family lined up there. They say, "Who do you want me to shoot, your father or your child?" Shoot my father? Oh, shoot me. No, I said, do you want me to shoot your father or your child? Because you don't know the laws. Soul goes to the same place, but it's going there with its own karma. Jesus taught that. That's why he said, go out and sin no more, because the more you sin, the less you're ever going to get that ability to do that. But what sin meant then is a lot different than what it means now. All right. Attention is critical. Where do you put your attention? What do you believe in? What do you think about? What do you do? Now, I'm not saying it's wrong to think about having sex or going out and partying one night or something. It's a natural thing of the mind. And we're programmed to accept it. We're not programmed to think about a real God. Why we're really here. Why we need to leave. What we're supposed to do here. We're not supposed to do anything here. We can't do a spiritual world because it is not. It's a beautiful world, and beauty doesn't make it spiritual, people. The ocean's beautiful, trees are beautiful, flowers are beautiful. It doesn't make them spiritual. Mankind makes everything spiritual. Everything other than something that's like drugs and things, spiritual. Well, this is a beautiful book because it talks about life and compassion. We have compassion. We have compassion for certain things. We have beliefs in certain people. We don't have belief in truth. We don't have belief in awareness. Because then it becomes awareness and it's no longer a belief. Jesus had the hardest thing to do in all history. To open a doorway for mankind to understand what it is, why it was here, where it can go. Nobody else taught that. Sorry. Nobody else did. Going back to the beginning of time, they didn't teach that to us. We didn't learn it. Alright. What school on this planet teaches anything about a real God? Catholic Church? My brother went to St. Peter's College. And they teach about how God wasn't real. I mean, you're a scientist. You're going to say, well, can I prove it? My brother doubted everything. Little by little, I got him to believe certain things. I told him things because I knew it. Oh, that's impossible. And months later, he called me up and said, you're 100% right. How'd you know? And things like that. But, he slowly accepted there's a higher force, could be a God. Actually went to church with his wife and things like that later on. But he didn't believe in any of it completely. Even though he went to St. Peter's College. Mankind has created a system that only moves away from God. Why they take it out of the schools, why they take it out of anywhere. Anything that relates to a God, a religion, a path. Religions separate God. People separate the truth and remove it. So we don't have much. What Jesus came here for today and died for, is the truth. He came back and showed who he was after they killed his physical body. That's the only thing you have to remember about today. Mary Magdalene walked in there and he was standing in front of her. Her husband. Not a man. Alright, so she was the first person to see it because of that. She was the spiritual one. Nobody else was. She had to go back and teach them how to see Jesus, because Jesus wasn't walking around in a physical body, walking around on a planet. They don't even talk about that because they don't know much about that or how it works or anything about it. If you weren't there, you don't know about it. If you don't know anything about outer body and soul and all that, you're not going to understand any of it. So to try to talk about it to a bunch of people standing on a mountain, you can't. You got to give them simple things to think about. Be a good person in life. Don't hurt people. I mean, what do you tell a person that doesn't understand anything about God, spirit, death, and reincarnation? Well, enjoy yourself. Do good things. What's a good thing? What's a bad thing? Can you list all the things that are bad and know everything that's bad? Tell your son that he can't go to a certain school that he wants to go to. Isn't that good? Is that good or bad? Stopping your son from going with a girl. Is that good or bad? I can tell you it's all bad for me. My mother stopped me from going with a girl because she was Jewish. I mean, the programming that parents have is fed into a child. Well, I hope you got something out of it today, tonight, this morning. It's Easter. It's a day you should really think about it. What happened? What did Jesus really do? Where did he really come from? Where was he going to go? What really was happening during that whole time? Well, you might not ever get there. You might be stuck in the Catholic religion, Protestant religion, and never still get to the truth. They don't talk about what I'm talking about. But it's your chance to wake up right now. Close your eyes. Think about God. Think about Jesus, what he did, what he said. He never said he was God. He wasn't trying to be God. If he was God, he wouldn't have died. He would have just said, "You people, if you don't listen to me, I'll have you all dead tomorrow." It would have been that simple if he was God, if that's what God wanted. If God wanted everybody to be spiritual, we would all be. We're a soul, a tiny little speck of a soul that needs to become aware of itself. It's like saying an atom needs to become aware that it's an atom. A proton, neutron, and electron have to realize that they're working together. I mean, it's that simple. But is man ready to do that? Are you ready? Can you take that step? If not, it's not bad. You just reincarnate many more times. You go through the same cheap drills that you're going through right now, thinking they're important. Get another family, having more children. Same old thing, over and over. Watch Groundhog Day. That'll teach you what reincarnation does. Watch it. Think about it. Watch it 3 times in a row, and you'll understand reincarnation completely. And why you don't want to do it anymore. I'm serious about that. If you never saw it, you might remember if you did, think about it. But if you never saw it, read it. Watch it. And watch it twice. First time it's going to be so funny, strange, and everything. Interesting. But watch it the second time. Because the second time you already know what's going to happen on each scene and what's happening, why he's going through each scene over and over again. It's what is he learning? Alright. I would say if you want to understand reincarnation, that's the first place to go. Alright, people. I hope you get something out of today, tonight, this morning, wherever you are, whatever time it is, wherever you are. It's 1:30 in the morning for me, 4:30 in the morning for California, 7:30 in the morning in the East Coast. So yeah, we're all in different time frames. China, Russia, England. England's 10 hours, 11 hours difference in us. Because the show I do, she's in England, my co-host, and she's sick right now, people. She's going through some horrible times with radiation, I call it. Nobody's admitting that yet to her. But I do a show about ETs and induction and everything with her once a week as well. The truth's out there, people. Are you ready for any of it? Or you just want to hear the government's bad and we gotta make them confess? Is that going to help you at all? Is it going to pay your bills? Is it help you get clean food, healthy food? Is it going to clean your air that you're breathing? If aliens were here to help us, don't you think they would help us with the things that we need help with? People, wake up. Before you're pulled into the program, which is happening, UN Agenda 21-30, that's going to happen by 2030. Just so you know, the date, why it was 21, it started last year. We're at stage 4. Everything that's happening, sickness, war, all those things are a part of it. The biggest part of it is controlled. Every drug, every medicine, every food that's put out there is a controlled substance, whether they tell you that or not. Alright, Rev.Hawksblood here, calling from the big island of Hawaii. Hope you got something out of today. If you listen to the end of this, I congratulate you for at least listening. Most people won't. They're going to hear something and they're not going to like it and they're just going to leave. That's their choice. But when it comes to truth, who wants to hear it? Oh no, I got a religion. Oh, I got children. Oh, I can't do, I got it. Excuse for living. You got to create an excuse to live. Because there is no reason to. Except the programmed mind believes it has to. So, wake up, enjoy life as soul, not as a happy person realizing the world's beautiful, because it's not. Well, I only look for the beauty. Look for the lies. Because everything is what it is. You make it beautiful or ugly or whatever. But the suffering and the pain and everything else is real. People die because of ignorance. Well, I didn't talk about aliens too much. I didn't talk about too many other bad things. But it's all together. It's all part of the same picture that you're dealing with right now. Till next time, Rev.Hawksblood there. Happy Easter. Think about what today really is. Go out and buy yourself a chocolate bunny anyway. Reprogram yourself and say, hey, wow, this is just a chocolate bunny. It's not God. Tell your children that as well. Peace, love, compassion. Whatever you need in your life, work for it. Don't give up. Look beyond whatever you think you know. Because whatever you think you know right now is a lie. That's all I can tell you. You don't have to believe me ever. And you might not ever. Especially in this lifetime. But soul will hear it. It'll hear it. It'll reflect on it some lifetime in the near future. Second, third lifetime from now, maybe. Maybe next lifetime. You might think about why you are and where and all that. Alright. Right up here, Rev.Hawksblood. That big island. Good morning, good night.